and his presentation is titled The Science of Living Together.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Reconciliation and betrayal. This tug of war between yesterday and tomorrow is embodied in the and found between reconciliation and betrayal, like Fani just mentioned. This and entices me to think of this tension between the two concepts, and it challenges me to note that they go together. It's not reconciliation or betrayal, or reconciliation in spite of betrayal, or reconciliation after betrayal. They are set beside one another in a tension. This tension is the same tension Luke Pearson wrote about in an article posted on Disrupting Whiteness, UCT's Facebook page, this week, when he said, "We cannot reconcile what happened yesterday when we are too busy bracing ourselves for what will inevitably come tomorrow." Now, my initial intuition was to focus on the impact of betrayal in the process of reconciliation, or to open this session with an apologetic white arrogance that has hurt so many people in South Africa before, and claim that reconciliation has already taken place. Yet, here I am, and I'm humbly sitting in front of you as a young white male student from Stellenbosch that will once again inadequately attempt to reflect on reconciliation 20 years after the TRC. I'm only 23 years old. What do I know? I want to admit that I'm a broken person, and I do not speak out of a place where I will tonight feel that I have arrived somewhere at some destination where I can tell you guys new truth or give you a fresh expression of understanding the black pain that was in South Africa. Yet I do not have self-pity for myself. My identity is not captured in white privilege or student protests, but with a God that is bigger than ourselves. There were many questions asked at the TRC that couldn't be answered. This is obvious. Many could only be answered by tears or facial expressions. None as grueling as the questions that were actually asked after the TRC period. And none more difficult to answer than if enough truth were spoken during the TRC, or what would happen if those who spoke the truth spoke the entire truth. And what about restitution? We've just asked that. The truth South Africa builds its future on, of course, is the Constitution. I will now use the preamble of the Constitution of South Africa to reflect on the theme of today, taking into consideration that we are in tension with yesterday and tomorrow. Now, we all know the start of the preamble. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past. So let's just feel that tension right there, because do we? Do we recognize it? And when I say we, who am I talking about? If one recognizes something, you acknowledge it. You do not talk about life as if nothing has happened. I continue. Honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land. This past week, anti-apartheid activist Jay Naidoo asked where the Nelson Mandela's, Desmond Tutu's, Ashley Creel's, and Beyers Nudea's are of today. Now, this is one line of the trajectory, practice that word the whole entire day, trajectory that has taken place. We have found that all leaders are in some way corrupt because they have to listen to 55 million people, and the voice of those people will never be heard through one person. I'd like to argue that it's in the small pockets of hope, the emerging smaller groups that germinate hope. It's in these small groups of protesters that we will find meaning and change. Respect those who have worked to build and develop our country and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. All? Who is this all? Does it mean black, white, colored, yellow, pink, red? I once heard someone say we shouldn't be a rainbow nation, rather we should become a transparent one. That would be denying who we are. That's not reconciliation. It's that we believe in our diversity that we find meaning. I hope I said that right. Diverse people unite. But how does this unity look like? There's enough brokenness, similarities, and otherness to make us a beautiful, creative country. It continues, we, therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this Constitution as the supreme law of the Republic so as to. So all of you with your South African IDs with you, this means you should listen up. Heal, lay, improve, and build. Heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. Rather, our currency has become a currency of heartache and sorrow. Our tears water the dreams of our children. Our knees are red and bruised of falling on them in praying for the country. The salt of my tears are all I eat at night. My fingernails are once again missing, ladies and gentlemen. Roads still separate hearts, Kaimandi and Stellenbosch, Clutisville. Our aim is for higher salaries, yet our social values are lower. There is a sting to a healing wound. It hurts long after the wound was created. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by law. Will of the people, I ask. Yet we manipulate mourners into voting for a party to honor the dead, like we saw this week happen. Parties in themselves have become united. Yes, united silos. But when a party is united, you know, it in itself that means that they have an opposition. We are bluffing ourselves if we think we are beyond the foundational period, like Fani said. The will of the people and every citizen aren't being protected by law yet. Improve the quality of life for all citizens and free the potential of each person. Is that for the freedom fighter? Is that for the revolutionary? Or is this only for the politicians? What is it, God, that we should do for this romanticized concept of reconciliation to become a reality where each person can create their own potential? Now, I'm asking God not because I'm studying theology. I'm asking God because my own answers are fallible. And build a united, democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. Well, junk status seems to be the place that we are soon going to take up in the family of nations. Democratic on paper, Fani has said, we have definitely become united. Maybe not. And then it ends off with this beaut. May God protect our nation, our people. Nkosi sikelele Afrika. Morena baloke sechaba sa hiso. God seën Suid-Afrika. God bless South Africa. Mudzimu fatuchedza Afurika. Hosi katekisa Africa. Maybe this call unto something larger than ourselves was an outcry by the writer of this preamble because he knew difficult times were ahead. Similar to the challenges Enoch Sontonga sets in the national anthem. I do not grasp or embody the words of this preamble. But like Revelation was a protest against the Roman system, like the lives of Beyers Naudé and Desmond Tutu was a protest against a system of white domination, like hope is a protest against emptiness. So I ask myself as a white male in South Africa what it is that I'm doing to protest the injustices. I look into the space behind my ribs and ask if I am doing anything. The truth about the trajectory is that we have not yet found a way to reconcile yesterday with today. Yet we will betray ourselves if we think we haven't made any progress. This institution for justice and reconciliation has done many great things in itself already, like the barometer that was put out last year. Even if the only element it has opened our eyes to that we have not yet fought hard enough for justice and sought reconciliation.